Hi, I'm Clayton, and this is my movie club review of Super. Start out by saying some of the actors that were in it. We've got Rainn Wilson from The Office. We've got Liv Tyler, who's Liv Tyler. I'm not really a big fan. We've got Michael Rooker, who is also known for The Walking Dead right now, I guess, and Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, which I know him best from, and Slither. We also have Kevin Bacon, who was awesome as the villain. We've got Ellen Page, who is better known for Juno and Hard Candy. What I thought about this movie, I thought it was really, 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 really good. It's one of those movies that I can't unsee. I also want to say that I'm kind of biased in this review too, because I'm really a big fan of James Gunn, who also directed Slither, which is a great, great horror movie if you ever want to check it out. He also did the screenplay for the Dawn of the Dead remake, which surprisingly I liked a lot at the time. What the movie's about, it's about your average Joe awkward guy named, Frank, who's Rainn Wilson's character, and his wife, who is Liv Tyler, is a recovering drug addict, and she leaves him for her drug dealer. He decides, because he was touched by God, that he needs to become a superhero to save her. He becomes Persona the Crimson Bolt, and he starts fighting crime. Not your standard superhero fare. He's actually whacking people with wrenches. Probably not the fitting punishment for somebody dealing pot or people butting in line, but he just seems I guess empowered. He meets up with the Ellen Page, who is an employee of a comic book store. She works the counter, and she kind of like pushes him along in a way, helping him become his persona, which also like later she ends up becoming his sidekick. Scenes that really stood out for me, like in this movie, were the point where he does get touched by God, quote unquote, the tentacle scene, of course, and him having his whole brain exposed. The end where Ellen Page meets her end, where her face is freaking half her face is missing. That really stood out. The part where he hits that dude in the head with the wrench that's button in line, and you could see practically his whole brain. Other things that stood out was the way it was. It definitely wasn't your standard superhero movie at all. It definitely had an indie tone, which I think that's the way it was supposed to be. I feel like it was a good ending just because it wasn't exactly a happy ending. I like happy endings, but it's kind of overdone in movies a lot. My favorite lines in it were probably him saying, "Don't steal, don't molest kids, and don't do drugs." Oh yeah, and shut up, crime. I also like how, yeah, this movie was kind of a comedy, but it was a really, really dark, really, really black comedy, and I really haven't seen a comedy this black in a while. And I'm a fan of black comedies, but I don't know. There was a few scenes in this movie that really kind of like made me chuckle, but really it wasn't like a laugh out loud movie at all. So I brought her in to kind of talk about one thing about this movie that made me really, really uncomfortable. It was the Ellen Page rape scene with Frank. Wow, I haven't seen anything that like uncomfortable in cinema in quite a while.
I think a lot of it had to do with the stigma that women can't rape guys. And so you see it going down. You see that it really has nothing to do with anything that he wants, and she's kind of insistent on it. And at the end, he just kind of throws her on the ground and walks away. And it felt really uncomfortable to me because I really, really like Ellen Page. I think that's what it was to me. And I don't like seeing an actress that I like so much playing such a terrible person.
That, and really, she was of age. And the character was of age, but it just made it seem like she wasn't. Like, she was like, the whole way, like, it went down, it just seemed so wrong. It seemed as wrong as it did to the character.
Okay, Ellen Page looks so super, super young, and she was playing 22 in the movie, but to see her in any sort of sexual way, it kind of is like, whoa, this is molestation here. And it probably doesn't help that probably the first role I saw her in was Hard Candy.
I haven't seen a rape scene ever that's made me feel this uncomfortable, I think.
Well, and it didn't help that wasn't the only rape scene in the movie. Like, probably 10, 15 minutes later, we have the Liv Tyler with the other drug dealer guy rape scene, and it's that being back to back like that. I can't take that kind of thing.
Sidebar: Liv Tyler, she is a horrible actress. She has two faces, sad and. I
thought they were the same face. I was making the sad face, and then I realized it looked just like your dumb face.
Oh yeah. Well, point proven.
Thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome. What I took away from this movie was that sometimes it's good to be a hero for somebody else, and sometimes it doesn't really have to work out the way that you want it to. It's always better to help somebody else than it is to help yourself sometimes. Really, that's it. I probably give this movie about 8 stars, 8.5 stars. It's definitely something I'll probably watch again. Alright, thanks. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe if you like this review. I'll see you later.